Hi there and welcome. My name is Lois Harvey and I work with Cooking Matters as a coordinator here in the San Luis Valley. We are housed under the SLV Local Foods Coalition and work together to promote local food and health and wellness and nutrition. Today, along with Abe Rosenberg, we are doing an episode about beans. Yes, beans, the magical fruit. Great nutritional value. Beans are something that we should keep in our pantry. Definitely one of the staples that I recommend, and Cooking Matters recommends as well, is something to have on hand to prepare some healthy, nutrition-packed meals for you and your family. So let's go ahead and discuss a little bit about beans, how to put them into meals, and why they're so important. Thanks to Abe for showing us how to cook dry beans, and as you know, there's so many different kinds of beans. We've got garbanzo beans, pinto beans, and black beans, cannellini beans, any kind of bean you can think of, they're out there. And not only can we buy them in dry in bulk and cook them up, but we can also open up a can if necessary. Don't let beans turn you off, and don't just assume that they are for vegetarians only. Beans are super nutritionally dense. They are high in fiber and high in protein. If you take 1 cup of beans, you are looking at about 15 grams of protein and 15 grams of fiber. They're also very low in fat, saturated fat, which is the fat we're trying to avoid. They have no saturated fat actually, and if you mix them with some good veggies and a healthy fat, you've got yourself a wonderful meal. So I have some neat recipes to share with you. And it's important to remember that we don't have to put meat in every meal. And you don't need to be vegan or vegetarian to enjoy beans, but we need to know what to do with them. And what I found is that a lot of people don't know what to do with beans. So today I want to talk a little bit more about how we can use them as a substitute for meat, but also create our meals completely around them and enjoy them for what they are. So here goes.
Hi everyone, my name is Abe Rosenberg and I'm here with the San Luis Valley Local Foods Coalition and the Local Foods Local Places program. Today I want to share with you easy way to cook beans. So we'll say demystifying cooking dried beans. And then later in this video you'll get to hear from Lois Harvey from Cooking Matters, who's going to talk about a lot of different things you can do with beans and some awesome recipes that you can try out. But to get started, what I want to do is just give you the confidence to go ahead and cook dried beans. There's just a few simple tricks to knowing how to cook beans, some kitchen hacks to make it really easy and fun, and then you can add whatever flavors and things that you want to make your beans taste the way that you like. To get started, we've got some dry pinto beans here, and you can soak your beans for 4 hours or overnight if you want, and that will basically make the cooking time much less, but you don't have to soak your beans. I do recommend that you rinse your beans before you cook them though. Kind of sort through a little bit and see if there's any rocks in there, or floaters as I call them, like little pieces of sticks or something that maybe made it through the process. A lot of the time you won't run into that at all, but it's good to just check. It's good to rinse your beans, especially if they're not organic, just to get any potential pesticides or chemicals off of them, as well as dirt and things like that. So these beans have not been soaked, they've just been rinsed, and so basically what that means is it's going to take at least a couple of hours for them to cook fully. The great thing about beans like this though is that you can cook them even longer if you want to. One of the things that I would do sometimes is make a pot of beans by adding the ingredients into a crock pot, put it on a low heat, let it cook overnight, and then they're ready to eat for breakfast in the morning. Today I'm just going to show you how to cook it in an old-fashioned pot on the stove, and we're going to want to cook them for at least a couple of hours, and you can basically just taste test them to see if they're cooked all the way through before you serve them. If you want to reduce that time, you can soak them for 4 hours or more, and it's going to bring it down to about a 60 to 90 minute cook time. Alright, so the thing about dry beans is it is about a 1-to-3 ratio for your dry beans to water. So I'm going to add my beans into the pot here, And then I'm gonna add some water. All right, here's 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we got our beans and our water in the pot on the stove on a low setting. And now I'm gonna show you a few things that you can add to this to bring out some more flavor in that pot of beans. One of the ingredients I like to use is some garlic. I like a lot of garlic personally. What I like to do when I'm cooking beans is leave a lot of stuff whole, particularly garlic. What I'm gonna do is just kind of throw them into a mason jar. It's just like a little trick for peeling a lot of garlic really fast without having to crush them. So you just put them into a mason jar and shake it really, really hard. And then you can just pull your cloves out. All right, so we've got our cloves of garlic. What I'll do is just kind of cut the big ones into halves and throw them straight into the pot. The next thing I want to add to these beans is an onion. What I like to do is add a whole onion. So it's easy to pull out or leave behind, or if you're very brave, you can just eat the onion. All right, so we're just gonna pull the skin off of this thing here. And you can use any size of onion. Sometimes I use much smaller ones for this, but this works great. We're gonna drop that guy in and he'll kind of float around. And then what you can do is use citrus rind, lime, lemon, whatever you like, and add that. It brings out some of the oils from the skin, which is really nice. The other stuff that we want to add is some salt, pepper, maybe some chile rojo if you want, some spices. Another thing I like to do is put a little bit of oil in. This is some sunflower oil, a tablespoon or so. Salt in here. I like to do some fresh ground pepper. And again, this is to your taste. If you don't like pepper, then don't feel obligated to use it. Another thing that you can add is some green onions. And these are also great as a garnish at the end. So maybe we'll put some of that in now to cook. And we'll save a little bit for the end. Some other great garnish is some fresh tomatoes or some salsa, some cilantro. Great thing about beans, and one of the main reasons we're doing this video, is because it's something that will store for a very long time. Especially if we're talking about getting a bulk bag of dried beans from a source such as the Valley Roots Food Hub. What you can do is keep this large bag of beans in your pantry and it will last a very long time. You can make large pots of beans that you can continue to make in different recipes and store them. If you have a large family, it's a great thing to make for a big meal as well. And there's so many things that you can do with beans. I hope you feel confident about cooking with dried beans. It's a really awesome staple to have that will last a long time and get you through things like quarantine or survival or just to the end of the week with a large family. So go ahead, Lois, and tell us more about beans.
Great vegetarian substitute in dishes like burgers, sauces, tacos, and other traditionally meat-centric recipes. They have a certain heft and a chewiness that makes them very satiating, so they're very filling because of that high protein and high fiber. 1 cup of black beans has 15 grams of protein and 15 grams of fiber. They also would have 227 calories. If you mix that with your veggies and an assortment of colorful veggies and a healthy fat, you've got yourself a really healthy meal. Today I'm going to share several ideas and links to recipes and ways to use your beans so they don't go to waste. What happens sometimes is we cook up a big pot of beans and we end up not knowing what to do with them. Because they are high in protein, they are very perishable. They do need to be refrigerated after we cook them, and we do need to use them up in our meals. And some people think that they can only be put in chili or in tacos, but there's so many other ways to use beans. And some of those ways are things we may not think about, including desserts. So we even have a great recipe for black bean brownies, and those are really yummy. And I will share those with you in another time. But today I wanted to share a couple other wonderful recipes that you can use with your beans. Blissful basil combines chickpeas with artichokes, hearts, and mayonnaise, and this can make a sandwich that tastes a lot like chicken salad. That recipe is right here below. How about trying barbecue bean burritos? Make your beans taste close to barbecue pulled pork and then pair it with black beans. How about sloppy joes? All of us love sloppy joes. This is a great place to add your beans as well. Mostly we usually think about beans in stews and in chili con carne, but there's other things to do with them too. How about a baked sweet potato with beans in it? You can add the beans to it, add some veggies, and put it on a sweet potato, and that's a really yummy meal. Beans. How about a veggie bowl, but it's a bean bowl with rice and veggies and your beans on top, maybe a little shredded cheese, a little salsa, chopped lettuce. Another great filling, wonderful way to use up your beans. Beans are great for breakfast. You can put them with your eggs. You can puree them and turn them into all kinds of desserts. I even have a recipe that I'm going to include below that you can link to for guilt-free chocolate chip cookie dough, butter bean brownies. So those are really delicious ways to make a sweet, snacky dessert. And if you click on the links below, that will take you to some of these recipes, and I hope you enjoy them. Remember, beans are your friends, and they are packed with lots of wonderful nutrients, lots of fiber, and lots of protein, the things that our bodies need. But remember, don't forget to add your veggies. Veggies, that should be half your plate. But put those together and have a meatless day and enjoy the benefits of beans. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.